My sister insulted me in front of everyone during the Christmas party, and my stepmother supported her, telling me to leave the house. But what Olivia didn't know was that I had been secretly paying for her tuition, so I stopped paying and left. Hello, my name is Rachel, and I'm 29 years old. This Christmas was supposed to be a joyful time for everyone, but for me, it turned into a nightmare I'll never forget. The house was filled with the sounds of laughter and holiday music. The tree stood tall in the corner, decorated with sparkling lights and ornaments we had collected over the years. Everyone was enjoying the party, chatting and sharing stories. I stood quietly near the dining table, sipping my hot chocolate, trying to stay out of the spotlight. My sister, Olivia, who is 22, was at the center of the room, entertaining everyone with her dramatic stories. She always knew how to grab attention. Suddenly, she looked directly at me and smirked. "Rachel," she called out loudly, making everyone turn their heads. "Why don't you share what you've been doing with your life? Or is it still nothings?" Her words felt like a slap in the face. I looked around at the faces in the room, some amused, some uncomfortable. My stomach churned with anger and humiliation. "Olivia, stop it," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "This isn't the time or place." "Oh, lighten up, Rachel. It's just a joke," she said, rolling her eyes. But her tone wasn't playful. It was sharp and meant to hurt. Before I could say anything else, my stepmother, Laura, who's 50, stepped in. "Olivia has a point," she said coldly. "You've been living here long enough, Rachel. Maybe it's time for you to move out and figure out your life." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My stepmother's words stung even more than Olivia's. I had worked hard to support this family in ways they didn't even know about, but they treated me like a burden. My face burned with shame as I realized everyone was still staring at me. "I can't believe you'd say that," I muttered, my voice shaking. "Well, it's the truth," Laura replied, crossing her arms. "You need to grow up, Rachel. You can't stay here forever." I put down my cup and turned to leave the room, my heart pounding. The night that was supposed to be filled with joy and love had turned into a public humiliation, and I didn't know how much more I could take. I barely slept that night. My mind replayed the scene from the Christmas party over and over, each word cutting deeper than the last. I thought about Olivia's smug expression, the coldness in Laura's voice, and the silence from the rest of the family. Nobody had defended me. The next morning, I woke up determined. I had stayed in this house too long, putting up with their mistreatment, hoping they would one day see my value. But last night proved they never would. As I headed to the kitchen, I overheard Olivia and Laura talking in the living room. Their voices were low, but I could hear the sharpness in their tone. "She's so ungrateful," Olivia was saying. "I mean, we've done so much for her, and she just sulks around all the time." "Exactly," Laura replied. "She needs to get her act together. I'm tired of her freeloading." Freeloading? My blood boiled. They had no idea that I had been secretly paying for Olivia's college tuition for the past 2 years. It wasn't something I had ever planned to share. It was a promise I had made to my late father. He wanted Olivia to have the opportunities he never had, and I wanted to honor that. But hearing them talk about me like this, as if I was some sort of burden, was the last straw. I stepped into the living room, and both of them turned to look at me. Olivia smirked, as if daring me to say something. "I'm leaving," I said firmly, my voice steadier than I expected. "I've had enough of this." Laura raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really? And where are you planning to go, Rachel? You can't just storm off without a plan." "I have a plan," I shot back. "And while I'm at it, Olivia, you might want to figure out how you're going to pay for your next semester. Because I won't be covering your tuition anymore." The smirk on Olivia's face vanished. "What are you talking about?" I folded my arms. "You heard me. I've been paying for your college this whole time. Dad asked me to take care of you, and I did. But now I'm done. You don't deserve it." Olivia's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. "You can't just stop paying," she finally stammered. "I need that money." "You should have thought about that before you humiliated me in front of everyone," I said coldly. "You can figure it out yourself now." Laura's face was a mix of shock and anger. "Rachel, this is ridiculous. You can't just abandon your family." I laughed bitterly. Family? You've never treated me like family. You've used me, taken me for granted, and then called me a burden. I'm done being your punching bag. Without waiting for a response, I turned and walked out of the room. I didn't need their approval anymore. I had wasted too much time trying to earn it. It was time to put myself first. I spent the next few hours packing my things. It was strange how easy it was to leave a place I had called home for so long. Every corner of that house held memories, but they felt hollow now, tainted by years of mistreatment. For every kind word I'd spoken or sacrifice I'd made, all I had received in return was scorn. As I zipped up my last suitcase, Olivia barged into my room, her face flushed with anger. "You're really leaving?" she demanded. "Yes, Olivia," I said calmly, not even looking up. "I am." Her voice wavered. "What about my tuition? I can't afford to stay in school without your help." I stopped what I was doing and turned to face her. For a moment, I felt a pang of guilt, but then I remembered the smirk on her face during the Christmas party. "That's not my problem anymore," I said firmly. "You should have thought about that before treating me the way you did." "You can't do this," she snapped, tears forming in her eyes. "You're supposed to help me." I shook my head. "No, Olivia. I've already done more for you than you ever deserved. It's time for you to figure things out on your own." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I heard her shouting downstairs, probably to Laura, but I didn't care. Their opinions no longer mattered. That evening, I loaded my bags into my car. Laura stood at the doorway, arms crossed, her expression icy. "You're being dramatic, Rachel," she said. "This is your home. You'll come crawling back." I looked at her one last time and smiled. "No, Laura, I won't. And when you're done trying to control everyone, maybe you'll realize how much you've lost." I got into my car and drove away, leaving behind the toxic environment that had held me back for so long. The relief I felt was immediate, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I moved into a small apartment on the other side of town. It wasn't much, a one-bedroom with outdated appliances, but it was mine. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of peace. I spent the next few weeks focusing on myself. I threw myself into my work, reconnected with friends I had drifted away from, and finally started doing things that made me happy. As the weeks turned into months, I began to rebuild my life. I set boundaries, learned to say no, and stopped feeling guilty for putting myself first. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it. One day, I received a call from Olivia. I hesitated before answering, but curiosity got the better of me. "Rachel," she said, her voice quieter than I'd ever heard it. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much you were doing for me. I was selfish." Her words caught me off guard. For years, I had dreamed of hearing those words, but now that I had, they didn't carry the weight I thought they would. "Thank you for saying that," I replied. "But I need to keep moving forward. I wish you the best, Olivia, but I think it's better if we go our separate ways for now." She sighed but didn't argue. "Okay. Take care, Rachel." As I hung up, I realized something important. Forgiving someone doesn't mean going back to the way things were. It means letting go of the anger and choosing to prioritize yourself. That Christmas, I celebrated in my apartment with a few close friends. We laughed, exchanged gifts, and toasted to new beginnings. For the first time in years, I felt truly happy. I didn't need Laura or Olivia to define my worth anymore. I had finally found my peace. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories and content. Tap that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, take care and stay inspired.